All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday, and you know what that means. Wisdom of the Ages. Wednesday wisdom, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be reading from Dr. Wayne W. Dyer, 60 Days to Enlightenment, Wisdom of the Ages. Wisdom of the Ages, and today's topic that we'll be discussing from Dr. Dyer and a poem from Ella Wilcox, who lived 1850 to 1919, will be about solitude. Solitude, ladies and gentlemen. What do you think about when you think about solitude? I personally think about, the time for contemplation, the time for thinking, the time for meditating on things, the time for going within, coming to know thyself. But ladies and gentlemen, in this series, Wisdom of the Ages, that I've been doing here, and in this book, Wisdom of the Ages, we've gone through many wonderful topics. So if you've missed a lot of these videos in this series before, we've talked about things such as knowing, coming from the Buddha, and leadership from Lao Tzu, and Confucius talking about patience, and Patanjali talking about inspiration, Jesus talking about being childlike, and Zen Proverbs talking about enlightenment, Epictetus talking about divinity, and many more. The Now, prayer, Jalaluddin Rumi, the Sufi poet, talking about grief as a blessing. Da Vinci, who talked about balance, and Michelangelo, hope, mind power. Shakespeare talked about mercy, time, oneness, humility, truth and beauty, communication, boldness and action, imagination, nature. William Wordsworth, that was a good one. I really liked it. Henry David Thoreau told us about nonconformity, and all of this is extrapolated by myself and what I think about it, as well as Dr. Wayne W. Dyer's thoughts and embellishments and extrapolations from these kind of things. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, Wisdom of the Ages. We're doing this so we can increase the quality of our lives, and in turn, increase the quality of the lives of those around us, if they're willing to accept such, maybe not even accept, if they're willing to open their minds and see what it is, see the possibilities that are out there, that some people might have a better life by researching some great wisdom of the ages. So let's do that, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, today's topic is solitude, and it comes to us from Ella Wheeler Wilcox, 1850 to 1919. Solitude is the title of this poem. So let's dive right into it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate everybody. Shout out to A1 and Mark Flitz. Really appreciate you guys for commenting and spending your time here with me in this great wisdom of the ages. And I wonder, Mark, if you're related to the Flitz family somehow. Solitude. Laugh, and the world laughs with you. What a beautiful opening line. Laugh, and the world laughs with you. Maybe we should all start laughing a little bit more, ladies and gentlemen. It's funny because I think last week I said we were going to do the chapter on laughter. And so it's ironic that I would choose solitude. And the first line is laugh, and the world laughs with you. All right, now let us go through this whole poem here. Laugh, and the world laughs with you. Weep, and you weep alone. For the sad old earth must borrow its mirth, but has trouble enough of its own. Sing, and the hills will answer. Sigh, and it is lost in the air. The echoes bound to a joyful sound, but shrink from voicing care. Rejoice, and men will seek you. Grieve, and they will turn and go. They want full measure of all your pleasure, but they do not need your woe. Be glad, and your friends are many. Be sad, and you lose them all. There are none to decline your nectared wine, but alone you must drink life's gall. Feast, and your halls are crowded. fast and the world goes by. Succeed and give, and it helps you live, but no man can help you die. There is room in the halls of pleasure for a long and lordly train, but one by one we must all file on through the narrow aisles of pain. Ella Wilcox. Wow, that's got to be one of the best ones, ladies and gentlemen, teaching us about, the kind of emotions that we can choose in our lives and the kind of results that we can expect by choosing such emotions. It's like if we want to choose negativity, then the world will, have enough of us. Goodbye. Sorry. If you want to be negative all the time, they just, it's sing and the hills will answer, sigh, and it is lost on the air. They all want full measure of your pleasure, but they do not need your woe. It's like people take a poll sometime and ask people throughout your day, how many of them care how tired you are? And I guarantee you'll find out that not very, very many people give a, whatever about how tired you are. And so stop complaining about how tired you are, ladies and gentlemen. And remember what we talked about yesterday. If you know tiredness, then that means you also know the opposite. And so become one with that feeling of knowing restfulness when you are tired, and you will experience the oneness. Now, a theatrical personality attracted to spiritualism, what a good mix. Theosophy, and mysticism. I love this woman. Wisconsin-born Ella Wheeler Wilcox was much loved by the readers of her volumes of poetry and her syndicated column of prose and poetry. Wayne Dyer begins, the title of this poem is Solitude. I think a far more fitting title would be Attitude. Yes, like choose your attitude. How are you going to express yourself to your loved ones and to the rest of the world? And in turn, what kind of results will you achieve from doing so? What Ella Wilcox is saying to us via this oft-quoted poem is whatever attitude you decide to adopt is precisely what you will attract into your life and what you will create for yourself in your life going forward. So if you want to be upset about things all the time, if you want to think nothing's going to work out, then that's the kind of life you're going to have. Remember, change your thoughts, change your life. That's the title of Living the Wisdom of the Tao, which we do on Tuesdays, ladies and gentlemen. But this is wisdom of the ages. And so, it's like, think twice about the purpose of great wisdom and great philosophy, because it's not just a bunch of BS. It really does have an impact on how our lives become based on what it is that we learn and what we decide to adopt as a way of behavior and attitude. Now, think mirth and the world will laugh right along with you, Wayne Dyer says, as well as it comes from the poem. This beautifully simple poem is also very elementary presentation, a very elementary presentation of energy field theory. See the mysticism coming in, ladies and gentlemen. Written before fields of energy were contemplated. Fascinating. Essentially, energy field theory says that there's an invisible vibratory field of energy. Remember, vibrations and frequencies, ladies and gentlemen. Everything is a vibration, and frequencies influence everything. So back to what's being said here. Energy field theory says that there is invisible vibratory field of energy surrounding all living objects, including human beings. And I will also include inanimate objects as well. There are frequencies that create the solid structures and everything else that it is we experience here in this physical realm. Now, at certain levels, so he goes, this field created is extremely impacted and may actually be created by how we think and process our experiences wherever we are in the world. And so, say that again, because this might be complicated and hard to take in for some people, but there is an invisible vibrational field of energy frequencies surrounding everything in the world and creating everything in the world, 3D, including human beings. And this field is created and affected by how we think and process our experiences wherever we are in the world. At certain levels of consciousness, the energy field vibrates fast. At other levels of consciousness, the energy vibrates slowly. Essentially, there is a continuum along which the varying levels of consciousness are responsible for creating the field of energy. We encounter different energy fields when we are within one another's physical proximity. So, have you ever thought about somebody being in your bubble? Like somebody comes to talk to you and they're like right here and you're like, excuse me, like you're too close here. That is because they're within your invisible energy field, ladies and gentlemen, that most people don't believe exists, but has been proven to. And so some of us are just out there denying the realities of the mystical and wonderful nature of reality itself. But if we can get over that process of denying and not opening our minds, then we can start to discover things that are far greater than we ever thought could really possibly exist. If you're getting value, please subscribe and share this with someone you think is like-minded. So Wayne Dyer continues here. For instance, when there's a strong, continuous energy for extended periods of time, even when people are gone, the field of energy can remain intense. See, that's kind of deep there. When there's strong continuous energy for extended periods of time, even when people are gone, the field of energy can remain intense. For instance, we often feel sad or happy without realizing that we have created a field of energy that is invisibly present. You think about how many of us spend a lot of our time in anger and frustration and sadness. And then think about the space that you do that in and how, it's almost, you almost create a loop because you create that kind of energy pattern in the space that you're in. And if it's at home, then you go out and do your life and you come back home and you're in that energy field again, unless you do something to cleanse it and clear it or change it through, intentional activities and actions. And this gets into far deeper subjects. That's why this lady who wrote this wonderful chapter was a mystic, a spiritualist, and many other things. But those are the things that we might want to begin to study if we want to know how to affect and influence our lives for the better, create a higher quality of life for those of us that are open to that possibility. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's continue. While touring the home of Anne Frank in Amsterdam, Wayne Dyer says, I had to almost force myself to breathe. The air seemed so heavy throughout this house, which is now a museum where millions of people have come to share the story of Anne Frank. And if you've forgotten what that story is about, never mind. We'll leave that one there. The joyous energy field also remains in places where it predominates. So what he's saying is, you can also have the opposite, most wonderful, joyous, uplifting energy field that is in these places, not these places, but is in any place in the world, especially great places. In the presence of highly advanced spiritual people, Wayne Dyer continues, one can feel love and be transformed in consciousness just by being in their field of energy. Ella Wilcox unknowingly captured the essence of field energy theory with those two famous opening lines. Laugh, and the world laughs with you, ladies and gentlemen. Weep, and you will weep alone. Remember that. Scream, and you will scream alone. Frolic and be joyous, and you will have many that come to you in frolicking and joyousness. Enjoy and have serenity, and people will want to join in your enjoyment and serenity. But have the opposite of these things, and you will send everyone away. Many years ago, while walking on the beach, I had an experience that illustrates the message in this popular poem. A woman who was moving to Florida from Chicago. Oh, this is such a great one. Listen up, ladies and gentlemen. This is a good story to remember. So Wayne Dyer goes, many years ago, I was walking on the beach, and he had an experience that illustrates the message that's being talked about here, about choosing your emotions. Choosing your emotions and the impact it has on your life. Many years ago, while walking on the beach, he met a woman who was moving from Florida to Chicago approached him. Having recognized Wayne Dyer from a television appearance the night before, she said, "Do you live here in South Florida?" And you can imagine, she's like, "Oh, are you Dr. Wayne Dyer?" And this is a wonderful opportunity for somebody to meet Dr. Dyer. And he responded that he did and was taking a beach walk after returning from an all-night flight. And then she asked him a commonly heard question: "What are people like here?" And he goes, "I responded with a question of my own. What are the people like in Chicago?" And she smiled broadly and told him how warm and friendly the people were in the Midwest. And he then told her immediately, "That's pretty much what you're going to find here." You might be able to see where this is going. On his return walk along the same beach, a woman whose husband was being transferred to Miami from New York stopped to me to say that she had seen him on television the night before and had enjoyed the show. And so they struck up a conversation, and then she asked me the same question, asked him, Dr. Wayne Dyer, the same question he had heard only an hour before on the very same beach. Naturally, he asked her the same question in return. "What are the people like in New York, where you came from?" She launched into a tirade. Oh, how insensitive, and this word, soliloquy, how insensitive and unfriendly it was in the big city. And Wayne Dyer responds, "That's pretty much what you're going to find here." And so the great lesson of that, ladies and gentlemen, is it's like, wherever you go, that's where you are. And what that means, if that doesn't make sense, is wherever you go, it's not going to change the way you think about life. So if you see everybody as mean and angry and terrible and nothing is good and everything's always a struggle, that's pretty much what you're going to find no matter where you go. Wherever you go, there you are. There you are. So if you can do the work and make the change, you don't really have to go anywhere, because then you'll be where you want it to be, at a place of, more joy, more happiness. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't physical locations in reality where it's kind of dangerous and people not may be the best, but we're talking about philosophy here, ladies and gentlemen, and the way you think about things really does influence and change your reality. Now, I live in a pretty average apartment complex. I mean, you could say it's a nicer area than the middle of, the city or whatever. I'm out in the suburbs, but it's very average. Some people don't take care of their things, and some people are loud sometimes, and, whatever. You hear people. But the way that I think about it is in all positivity. I'm like, yeah, people are having a good time when they're loud. Unfortunately, sometimes you have to try to go to sleep through it, and that can be frustrating, but that doesn't mean that you think you live in a terrible place and everybody is bad. Because when you create that reality for yourself, that is where you are. You're believing that you're in a terrible place where everything is bad, and it's not the truth. And if it really is the truth, then you need to do something about it. And first of all, change your attitude when you become, when you begin moving to a new place. Like, all right, whatever I see here is going to be wonderful and great. And if once again you're in the slums of the ghetto, and people are robbing each other and things are bad, but I guarantee people even have a good life in the ghetto, depending on their philosophy and what kind of lifestyle they live. I'm telling you, there is a way to change your thoughts and change your life. So I was getting off topic there, but I hope you know what I mean. The wonderful story, though, to remember from Wayne Dyer about the two people he met on the beach, one moving, there from Chicago, who, everybody was wonderful. And that's about what you'll find here. And the one moving there from, everybody's mean. And, that's just about what you'll find here, too. So it's like the great lesson of life, literally, is whatever you look for, you're probably going to find it. So be careful of what it is that you're looking for in life. Let Wayne Dyer continue here. Many people, that's pretty much what you'll find here. Wayne Dyer goes, we attract into our lives pretty much what we ourselves project with our own attitudes. In general, those who feel that the world is a cesspool notice the vermin, while those who believe in the goodness of humanity see others of like mind. Whew, beautiful. This is a beautiful lesson today. I'm so glad that I chose this one, titled Solitude, because I had no idea where I was going to go. I never know what Wayne Dyer is going to say about these things. I thought he was going to talk about being alone and, finding solitude and time for yourself and stuff like this. Totally different direction. So he continues by saying, many people lament the poor quality of service in contemporary America. Say things like, you just can't get good service anymore. And this is a gripe you hear daily. In fact, Time magazine did cover a story on the decline of service in every field, from retail stores and restaurants to watch repair. And so I'm going to add in here, then people will read this article or watch this news story and think, it's true. The service is terrible. And then here's another reason I should believe that. And that's what I should look for when I go out into the world. And those of us who know better sit back and go, it's unfortunate that would be your choice, to think and believe and look for those kind of things. Even if there is articles and news stories, they're usually trying to confirm us to live in a dismal, controlled kind of world and mind, really. A dismal, controlled kind of mind is what they want for us. And what we want for us, what I want for you, is a higher quality of life, a beautiful and a joyous, a harmonious mind. Now, sorry, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of those subjects that hits me home, because it's part of the reason I got into all of this, got so obsessed with all of this, is I realized that we can choose. And once you really realize, like once you get serious about it, it's not just like just think happier thoughts and everything. It's like, no, this is serious. Like you really do have to choose your life through your thoughts, attitudes, and emotions. Now, end of rant. We'll see when the next one starts. If you're getting value, smash the like button and leave me a comment, ladies and gentlemen. I'm loving this one. Watching recently on a television show, Wayne Dyer continues, where everyone on the panel unanimously agreed on the poor quality of service. I disagreed, Wayne Dyer says, and I disagree with them and agree with Wayne Dyer as well. I explained that I felt expectation attracted when it expected. What? He goes, I explained that I felt expectation attracted what it expected. That's a secret and a key to manifesting there, ladies and gentlemen. Your expectation attracts what it is expecting. It's another good way to say that you see what you look for. Fascinating. So he continues with saying, when I enter any retail store or restaurant, I expect to be treated cheerfully and politely. He's not looking for the opposite if it's not happening. It's another key point to put in there. And that is pretty much what he gets, he says. Cheerful and politeness. And if I can't find a salesperson to wait on me, I refuse to communicate and to contaminate his energy field with thoughts of displeasure and disgust. Not disgust like you're talking about it, but disgust like you're disgusted. Instead, he says, I begin sending out the energy that I want to find, that you want to find, ladies and gentlemen. If I encounter, Wayne Dyer says, a surly waiter, I immediately bring him into my energy field with saying something like, oh, looks like it's been a tough day for you. And empathy, compassion, love, these things counterbalance and counter out the opposite. And if at the least they confuse it. I've done this before with many angry, when I was a cashier, you'd get some customers that were, not happy with the line they had to wait in, not happy with the prices that they're having to deal with, not happy that the coupons aren't working. So many times my manager just said, all right, just put the coupon in manually, even though they didn't get the right things or whatever. It's all, it's all just and there was so many times where it would be my responsibility to remain unaffected by these people and also bring them into an energy field of understanding. Like, I'm sorry, it's all right. I'll do what I can for you. And we're, you have empathy and understanding and compassion and love and, like, hope you have a great day and all these kind of things, and really sincerely mean it. And you can change maybe you can change people's lives. Sometimes it's just one moment that makes a huge difference for someone. One thank you. Now, see, I'm ranting again. This has been, don't worry, we only got one page left, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope you're not already tuned out, because if you are, then this wasn't for you. But if this was for you, then you're really loving this. Thank you. Now, let me continue. Sorry. He disagreed. Energy field with thoughts of pleasure. And instead, I begin sending out the energy field that I want to find. So people saying, oh, looks like it's, if he encounters this surly waiter, he brings him into his energy field saying, looks like it's been a tough day. I understand. And you've just been rewarded with a customer who appreciates you and knows how tough your job really is. That would be, can you imagine somebody saying that when you're having a tough day at work? You'd be like, thank you. Like, wow. Take your time. That's another thing Wayne Dyer would say. Lo and behold, the poet is right. Be glad and your friends are many. Be sad and you'll lose them all. Now, hopefully your friends don't abandon you in your sadness, but once again, philosophically here, ladies and gentlemen, your field of energy radiates at whatever vibratory frequency you generate. This is a great lesson on many levels. Your field of energy, now listen to this, maybe write this one down and post it somewhere where you can see it. Your field of energy radiates at whatever vibratory frequency you choose to generate. You are impacting and being impacted by the energy fields of many people each day. And all that, including entertainment, forms of entertainment and reading and whatever it is, there are energy fields in these things. So if you watch the darkest, evilest kind of things, you will be impacted by these kind of energy fields. And then you'll go around wondering, why am I having such negative energy in my life? Good question. Like, is it really not that obvious? What are the things that you spend your time doing? Now, your energy field radiates at whatever vibratory frequency you generate. You are impacting and being impacted by the energy fields of people and forms of entertainment each day. Refuse to give energy to things you don't want or don't believe in. And the crowd goes wild. Man, this is a great one, ladies and gentlemen. Refuse to give energy to things you don't want or don't believe in. And that's funny. I'm sorry for all the rants, but this is so good. I was just listening to a great video yesterday about all the calamities that are going on, and, like the supplies or, the shortages and all of these reasons why you better prepare. And, and that's not bad advice to be prepared and not scared, but the man himself that has spent so much time, and it is his life to inform people about these things and help people prepare for these kind of calamities that he is so much expecting. But it's like, he said this sentence too, knowing great wisdom. He goes, what if I'm spending so much time thinking about all of this stuff that I'm creating it for myself in my own reality. And it made me, I was like, yes, at least he knows that that's a factor. And so once again, refuse to give energy to things you don't want or don't believe in is a very powerful piece of advice, Wayne Dyer says. Anytime you opt for weeping rather than laughter, sighing rather than singing, grieving rather than rejoicing, sadness rather than gladness, fasting rather than feasting, or pain rather than pleasure. And remember here, there are times for all things. So, grieving and sadness, and each one of these things are natural times of life, but when you're choosing them over the other is the key. And so anytime you opt for, see, that's what he was saying there. Anytime you choose over, anytime you, whether it's subconsciously or consciously, intentionally or non-intentionally, choose the choice of weeping rather than laughing, or sighing rather than singing, or grieving rather than rejoicing, or, whatever it be, fasting rather than feasting. Sometimes fasting is good. So, but what we're talking about here, ladies and gentlemen, pain rather than pleasure, anger over peace. That's a good one there. Anytime you're choosing these things, you are making a choice to slow down your vibrational field, your frequency, your vibrations, and lower your energy. And you begin to pollute your immediate mental energy field. So stop polluting your mental energy field, ladies and gentlemen, and lowering your consciousness level and vibrations. Each morning, as you take in your first view of day, I literally thought this morning as I woke up. Not the third time I woke up, it was the first time I woke up this morning. And it was like, oh God. It wasn't me that said it, but it was there. And I thought this very line every morning. As you take in your first view of day, or as you open your eyes, you have a choice to say, good morning, God. Or, good God, it's morning. Whichever you choose is precisely the energy that you will invite into your life. Indeed, there is room in the halls of pleasure for a long and lordly train. As the last line of that poem said. Sorry, trying to get back to the first page. There's a room in the halls of pleasure for a long and lordly train, but one by one, we must all file on through the narrow aisles of pain. Fascinating. Remember, Wayne Dyer says, Ella Wheeler Wilcox's poem, while you increase the vibration of your energy field with these adjustments to your attitude. And see, this is why you want to get this book, which I have linked in the description below. I'm always pointing over here because underneath the video on YouTube, pretty sure right here, there's a little button you can press down there that will expand the description. And it will show all the things in the description that I have linked, including this book, so you can get it for yourself to put it on your shelf, which is behind me. This one is obviously not the bookshelf, but you know what I mean, ladies and gentlemen. The reason you want this book is so you can reference wonderful chapters such as these that could be life-changing, tools to implement and increasing the quality of your life. But also because at the end of each of these chapters, Wayne Dyer gives us a way that we can take these mystical, up in the clouds, philosophical kind of ideas and bring them back down to earth so that we can begin to apply them practically in our life as we go forward, ladies and gentlemen. And so he begins with number 1. He says, when experiencing any of the negatives in the poem, such as sadness, sighing, and weeping, ask yourself, who really wants to be around me when I'm this way? And that can be tough when you're in those times. I understand. But then begin deliberately shifting your state to a better state as much as you can. It takes practice. This is hard work, ladies and gentlemen. Number 2, as you make the choice to shift states, even if you have to fake it, take notice, so good, of how you begin to attract what you want rather than what you don't want into your immediate field. The magnet you are becoming can be either negatively or positively charged. That's mysticism too. The magnetic and electric, the electromagnetic nature of reality in the universe. And whichever you opt for will determine what comes rushing into your life space. Number 3, when entering into a field where you feel there is too much negative energy, consciously make an effort to deflect the negative activity, the negativity by being a polar opposite. And someone also told me if you're powerful enough in this process, you can take in and transmute the energy and send it back as positive. So then you're doubled in your positive energy or increased, and also sending the energy back that was shot at you in a new form. It's like someone shoots an arrow at you, you grab it, light the tip on fire. Maybe that's a negative, but you know what I mean. You grab it, you increase the potency and flip the polarity, and you send it back, not to harm or maim, but to teach a lesson. Don't shoot arrows this way unless you want more powerful, better arrows, not for the same purpose, coming back your same way. That was a weird, that was a weird example. When entering into an energy field where you feel there's too much negative energy, consciously make an effort to deflect the negativity by being a polar opposite. Smile in situations when all about you are frowning, and radiate cheer instead of criticism. This may be why I crazily laugh when people are talking about the negative things in the world. I'm like, it's unfortunate. I don't know. I sometimes wonder if people are like, what is he laughing about? This is terrible. And number 4 here, lighten up. Lighten up. Like, come on, man. Come on, girls, guys, everybody, lighten up. This has been so good. I really hope you've loved this as much as I have. The lighter you take yourself, Wayne Dyer says, and the more you detach from self-importance, the more fun you will attract into your life. We have total control over how much laughing, singing, and rejoicing we are experiencing, regardless of how much we have convinced ourselves to the contrary. Boom, to knowledge and wisdom and life-changing information, ladies and gentlemen. That might have been one of the greatest readings out of this book, because it gets really down to the point of choosing your emotions and attitude and changing your life. I'm like, oh, man, what am I always have trouble wondering what I'm going to title these videos, but because it's just such a broad, most impactful subject. But pretty much, ladies and gentlemen, your attitude will create what it is that you experience in life. Your emotions will attract to you what it is that you are radiating out. That was a powerful one, ladies and gentlemen. I think before I ramble on anymore to take away or add to this wonderful reading, and it came to us from Ella Wilcox, Ella Wheeler Wilcox, 1850 to 1919, she was writing about these kind of things. You imagine how much of that applies 4 years later. Maybe it's not 2023 yet, but it's like, it's just so amazing how applicable these things are, and how much it means, for us to increase the quality of our lives with the great wisdom of the ages, ladies and gentlemen. But thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate everybody who spends their time with me, Dr. Wayne Dyer, and all the wonderful authors and poets in the wisdom of the ages, as well as Lao Tzu and the wisdom of the Tao. But continue, ladies and gentlemen, to seek to achieve and maintain happiness through enlightenment. Continue to seek to discover the hidden wisdom of the ages, because there is that, ladies and gentlemen. There is just that. There is a wisdom that would seem to be hidden or swept under the rug by too many. And we need to begin to bring it to the forefront in order to change not only our lives, but the quality of the lives of those around us. And once again, like I always say, we need to begin to make happiness the way, the process, what it is that we, through conscious effort and intention, bring to life. And when we can begin to make happiness the way, ladies and gentlemen, the goal that we've been striving for so long, that we've been always telling ourselves, I'll be happy when I get there, will become irrelevant, because we'll already be in the happiness that we were so long seeking to get. And then the entire journey will be wonderful. Round of applause. I loved it, ladies and gentlemen. Most of that just came through me and came from Dr. Wayne Dyer and Ella Wheeler Wilcox. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. I love you all, and I'll be back next week with more wonderful Tuesday Tao, change your thoughts, change your life, living the wisdom of the Tao, and Wednesday wisdom, the wisdom of the ages, in 60 days to enlightenment.